Phillies manager Rob Thomson is starting to reveal little details here and there about the overall plan for Andrew Painter's future in Philadelphia. We're going to get into all of that today, what this means for the pitching staff in general, where Mick Abel fits into this, and more on the newest episode of Phillies Digest. But before we do that, I do want to remind you guys to please subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Just 35% of our viewers that are watching our videos have subscribed so far. We want to get that top number down and that bottom number up. Once again, just 35% of our viewers have subscribed to the channel. Myself and Sean Bernard are uploading at least one video a day. This is the place to be for all things Phillies here on YouTube. But we got some pretty important updates from Rob Thomson before Friday's game in regards to Andrew Painter, Mick Abel, and all that kind of stuff. So really to jump into this here, Andrew Painter's next start will be Wednesday. Rob Thomson said they're still on the same July-ish timeline, and the plan as of now will be to use the All-Star break as a bit of a rest period. It seems like they'll give Painter maybe a week before the All-Star game. He'll probably make his last start in AAA. Then they'll give him the All-Star game as a little bit of a break to reset. And then it seems like his major league debut is right after that. I will say Rob Thomson was not really set in stone with everything. That did seem like their plan, but he didn't rule out if it needed to be quicker, if it needed to be farther away. They're still sticking on the July-ish timeline. I think that's the biggest thing. Obviously, the All-Star game is in the middle of July, so it does kind of make sense. But it seems like they're still following this plan, but I thought that detail was a pretty big one revealed by him, knowing sort of more of a timeline and not just July-ish. It seems like his first start could be right after the All-Star break. Phillies could give him a rest period. Everyone gets a little rest period, and then come back firing after the All-Star break with Zack Wheeler, Jesus Luzardo, Christopher Sanchez, Ranger Suarez, Andrew Painter, and hopefully a healthy Aaron Nola. Another big update, Mick Abel continues to shine down in AAA. Abel on Thursday, Mick Abel allowed 1 earned run and struck out 8 over 4 2/3 innings at AAA. He has a 1.08 ERA with 50 strikeouts in 41 2/3 innings over his last 7 starts, one of which was his MLB debut. Once again, Mick Abel didn't give up an earned run in 4.2 innings for Lehigh Valley. 1 run allowed, 4 hits, 8 strikeouts, 3 walks, a 2.21 ERA in Lehigh Valley this season. And as Jeff says here, the Phillies are in good hands with Abel and Andrew Painter, and I think we all know that, right? The Phillies are in probably the best shape they've ever been farm system-wise. And they're going to have some decisions to make soon. Obviously, Taijuan Walker got the start Friday night in the 6-2 loss to the Brewers. Rob Thomson did not commit to Walker's next appearance being either as a starter or as a reliever. Aaron Nola has not thrown a bullpen yet. Taijuan Walker's next appearance, if it was a starter, would probably be in 5 days. That seems like, to me, maybe it could be Abel again. They haven't necessarily committed to where Walker will be next. I don't think Aaron Nola will be back in the next 4 days. He's going to have to make a rehab start. He's going to have to throw probably 1 or 2 bullpens before that rehab start. I still don't expect to see Aaron Nola probably till the second week of June. I think he needs at least 1 or 2 weeks left before he comes back. But then where does that hole get filled if Taijuan Walker's next appearance isn't out of the rotation? Once again, Rob Thomson said that he's not committed to it either way. He said they need to have some conversations about what the next move is for Walker because he's not as effective as he was early in the year as a starter. Friday night, he only went 4 innings. They liked him out of the bullpen. It seems like they're continuing to believe in him in a bullpen role eventually down the line for a bullpen that is going to need it. This Phillies bullpen right now is a bit thin. Obviously at the top, Jordan Romano, just an awesome resurgence from what he was. He's been really, really, really good over the last month and a half. Matt Strahm is still pitching effectively. He's just not necessarily last year's Matt Strahm. He's getting roughed up a little bit more. The velocity isn't where it was last year. I'm not insanely concerned about Strom, but he's certainly not the Strom of last year. Orion Kerkering has had an awesome month of May. Joe Ross, while he's been pretty effective, they see him more as, a few inning guy rather than, taking down a ninth inning by himself. Jose Ruiz is, a bit hit or miss. Tanner Banks has shown a lot over the last month. He obviously led up that 3-run home run to Christian Yelich on Friday night. Carlos Hernandez, I think we all know what's going on there. Throws hard, can't really command the baseball. And then Max Lazar, who honestly I thought has looked pretty good since he's been called back up to the majors. Lazar obviously was with the team last year for a little bit. Got called up again this year once Nola went to the IL, and then Alvarado went down. This bullpen, needs some work, and I know you can add Taijuan Walker to this. I don't know how much adding Taijuan to this is going to truly make it elite. Down the line, I think the Phillies are going to have to get to that point where they're going to have to start considering maybe moving Mick Abel there. The Phillies don't want to move Andrew Painter to the bullpen. It still doesn't seem like they even want to do that in the playoffs. Granted, when you get to October, anything goes. So nothing is off the table once you get to October. But Mick Abel, once again, has shown some real signs of life this season in AAA and in his one start of the majors. He outdueled Paul Skeens. He has a 1.08 ERA with 50 strikeouts and 41 2/3 innings over his last 7 starts, one of those starts being his MLB debut. And, they're going to have to do something with this guy eventually because if they were to trade him at the deadline, I think some teams would want to see more starts out of him or more appearances out of him in the major leagues before they trade for him at the deadline. And quite frankly, I think he could be very effective out of the bullpen. I think even his velocity would probably go up a little bit if you brought him out of the bullpen. His stuff plays out of the bullpen. His off speeds was really good in his debut. It's been really good in Lehigh Valley this year. The fastball velocity is way up from what it's been in the last few years. Mick Abel is probably going to have to be an option at some point for them down the line. But once again, Rob Thomson did reveal that Andrew Painter, his that next start is Wednesday. The past start, 5 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, 5 Ks, 81 pitches. Next for Andrew Painter, once again, next start in AAA will be Wednesday. Still on the same July-ish timeline, and it seems like that timeline will end up right after the All-Star break. So the Phillies will most likely head to the All-Star game unless things change. We come back, and Andrew Painter will be up with the Phillies in the major leagues. What would you do with Taijuan right now? Are you, pro putting Abel in the bullpen? Do you think he needs to stay as a starter? What are your thoughts on the Phillies pitching staff right now? Because I think there's some things they can move around to make this more effective as far as the bullpen right now. Once again, this has been the newest episode of Phillies Digest. My name is Luke Arcaini. If you have not hit that subscribe button already, please do so. Like, comment, subscribe on this video. This has been Phillies Digest. Once again, I am Luke Arcaini, and I will see you guys next time.